Live-action adaptations have a very long-standing tradition of being very disappointing. From Dragon Ball Evolution, Ghost in the Shell, Monster Hunter, Death Note, Attack on Titan, the list goes on. Now, 4 months ago, Netflix has released a live-action adaptation of Cowboy Bebop, and really, this title doesn't need any kind of introduction at all. It's a quintessential anime classic of the likes of Akira, Neon Genesis Evangelion, Perfect Blue, one of those anime that separates the man from the boys. And knowing how many live-action adaptations have ended in the past, we were justifiably skeptical when Netflix announced the making of a live-action of Cowboy Bebop. But I've tried to hold on to a small portion of benefit of the doubt. You know, this is just the trailer, let's give it a chance. I know there has been many live-action adaptations that committed crimes against humanity, but it doesn't have to be this one, right? Who am I trying to fool here? Unsurprisingly, the live-action adaptation turned out to be a complete flop, to even cancelling a planned second season. There are so many things wrong with this adaptation that I don't even know where to start. And this is something I don't really understand. Cowboy Bebop is not an anime that would seem really hard to adapt and pull it off. It doesn't have your regular anime character designs or any kind of over-the-top power that would look ridiculous in a live-action setting. Instead, it has a very obvious Western style animation and thematic stories that takes influence from noir films, spaghetti western, cyberpunk, 70s and 80s Hong Kong action films, to space opera and sci-fi movies. With all of these elements that would totally translate really well on a live action setting, Netflix took an all-time classic and turned it into a badly done fan-made series.
Next big score, I'm getting one for the ship. One for each foot.
Jed, a bidet is a toilet that cleans out your asshole.
Look how they mess with my boy.
Let's start with the writing of this series because that's the main issue of this show. I couldn't believe that it was possible to make an entire series more cartoonish than the original anime. The interactions between the characters feels so unnatural, especially the villains and mob characters whose behavior is so bizarre to the point of ridiculous. It feels like I'm watching a fan-made sitcom comedy parody instead of real characters talking to each other. Don't get me wrong, the original anime is not completely serious and dark all the time. It has a subtle humor that usually runs on gags rather than a Joss Whedon, Marvel type of humor the live-action adaptation tried to introduce.
3 eco-dicks in gas masks storm in and release this gas that starts turning people into trees. No shit, trees, it was nutbags.
Toxic gas turned people into trees? Are you serious with this? Oh shit, that's nutbags.
Seriously, who wrote this? The one-liners in this series is the cringiest thing I've ever seen in a show. They were not funny, witty, or smart whatsoever. It doesn't add anything to the story nor adds to the characters' personalities. It only adds how unnatural it is.
Sounds to me like blackmail.
You're damn right it is, because Jed, you are black and you are male.
This is some of the worst dialogue I've seen in a very long time. It's like it's trying to capture the spirit of the original series, but it comes off as a middle-aged dad trying to sound cool. Normally, the two main reasons why a live-action adaptation fails are because number one, it strays far away from the original source material, like with what they did with Death Note, making Light Yagami into an emo screaming goat, or turning L into a hypebeast techwear black guy, or number two, it tries to be a carbon copy of said source material, but fails to do so, resulting on being outlandish. Cowboy Bebop falls into the second category. It tries way too hard to be like anime. What people don't seem to realize is that anime's cinematographic language cannot be translated properly in live action. The show is flashy, I'll give them that. They tried to make it look like a blaxploitation film with the editing similar to Scott Pilgrim, but part of the reason why anime Cowboy Bebop worked so well is that it's because it's animated, which allows to certain camera angles, lighting to work out. In live action, it just looks off, if not worse than the original anime. I don't know what they were thinking, but Netflix marketing team just shot themselves on the foot tweeting this. This is not water, this is mud. They sucked out all the color, even some iconic scenes that are supposed to be similar from the original anime looks completely dull. Another thing I want to point out is the apparent obsession with the Dutch angle. For those who don't know what the Dutch angle is, in filmmaking, Dutch angles are generally used when something is going wrong or to give an unsettling feeling in the scene. But here, it's just everywhere. It's so unnecessary. It's very apparent that they tried to capture the essence of the anime, but since it's not animated, it just won't work. And don't get me started with the CGI and art department. It looks so low budget and not believable at any moment. And I get it, this is a series and not a movie, but nowadays, series quality standards have raised in the last few years, and the only difference between a series and a movie today is the length of it. The action sequences have issues as well. The first time I watched it, it felt like, wait a moment, it looks really off, isn't it? Why are they moving they're so stiff? It looks slow, stiff, awkward, lacks impact, and comes off as fake because how bad the choreograph was. Compared to the original anime, the fight scenes flow really beautifully. They're snappy, fast, dynamic, and more chill and laid back, contrary to the gratuitous aggressive violence the live action has. The opening credits is one of the few things they got mostly right. There's no way they can replace one of the best anime openings of all time, so they did the right decision on why is Spike running like that? Who was the genius who thought this looked cool? And talking about the acting, I usually don't put the blame on actors or actresses because both of them perform the way they were told to. I think that John Cho playing as Spike and Shakir Mustafa as Jet Black did a good job portraying their respective characters, not being over-exaggerated or overplayed to the point of being unbelievable trying to be like the anime, because again, when you're trying to adapt something from a different medium, you have to adapt it in a way that keeps the core ideas and ground it into your own medium. Out of the main cast, I want to point out how great was Shakir playing Jet Black. He got the essence of the character. The way he carries himself, how he is the one who's talking sense of the trio. He is Jet Black. On the other side with Faye though, I had a hard time standing here in the first few episodes. The way how they approached Faye's character was something I strongly disagreed, because her overall character has nothing to do to her anime counterpart. The idea of Faye Valentine is that she's supposed to be the femme fatale with a good heart, who uses her womanly charms as a weapon, and for a series like Cowboy Bebop, a series which takes a lot of influence from noir films, this type of archetype wouldn't result out of place. In Netflix Bebop, Faye is a con woman, foul-mouthed with a lot of tongue-in-cheek, and the way she speaks, it's like it's taken out of a Star Wars sequel or any MCU movie.
Super cool accommodations, but do you think you could handcuff me to an even bigger, more disgusting toilet? Because that'd be great.
Welcome to the ass, motherfuckers! No!
I really couldn't stand her, mostly during the first 3 episodes, but I don't know, maybe I've got used to her, maybe I gave up or just rolled with it. If you absolutely despise this version of Faye Valentine, I completely understand you. Now we have Ed, who finally makes an appearance right at the end of the episode, and oh boy with Ed.
Spike! Spike!
This is the prime reason why you don't want to copy 100% of anime. Ed is a very anime character. It's practically impossible to make this character justice with a real actor. Sure, this is how Ed acted in the anime, but this type of character only works within the boundaries of animation. There is no way such a character like that is so hyperactive and erratic could work in live action. If the director or showrunners really wanted to include Ed in the show, they should have reworked the entire character from the ground up, because my god, this is awful. Another thing I want to point out is how Netflix adaptation changed the structure of the series, making the storyline worse than the original anime. Spike's story arc is nowhere near as satisfying as the anime because they butchered the romance and betrayal backstory that make Spike so compelling, dragging the story with unnecessary stuff because they changed the time length of the episodes from 20 minutes to nearly an hour. Putting that aside, the original anime was self-contained. In other words, Most episodes are unrelated to each other except the ones that connect the broader storyline, giving a sense of progression within the series, which meant that the whole Vicious and Julius story happened sporadically, which allows to give a sense of mystery and suspense to these characters. On the contrary, Netflix decided that it was a very good idea to put both characters on every single episode. Not only this decision makes Vicious less menacing and mysterious, but it ruins a lot of what made him such a great antagonist. By the way, is it me or Vicious kinda looks like the guy from The Witcher but on crack? The only positive aspect of this adaptation that I've found is the brilliant soundtrack composed by Yoko Kanno, the same composer of the original show. Other than that, the rest of the show fails to recreate the essence of the original anime. This live action of Cowboy Bebop is not the worst thing Netflix has done. That honor belongs to Death Note. Cowboy Bebop was entertaining at the very least, but as an adaptation, it butchered the tone of the original story. The appeal of the characters are in no way as the same level as the anime, and the technical aspects are baffling. I'll admit that this adaptation was an attempt on trying to be as close as possible to the source material, but otherwise, they wouldn't have bothered on bringing Yoko Kanno for the soundtrack or having Watanabe Shinichiro, the director of the original show, foreseeing the whole thing. So this was definitely made from a place of respect. Even though they sucked at it.